Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Okay, welcome to EMJ 32204, assignment number 2, individual submission. Okay, for this assignment, it will contribute about 9% overall of your contribution for the subject. And this assignment will take place at the lab, hardware lab, block 4, electrical machines lab, block 4, ground floor. Okay, actually we have several machines and system which being installed inside our lab to assist you all in terms of how to further understand what you have learned inside the class in terms of the operation, characterization and the performance of the machines. And actually what you have learned, you should understand further when you perform the same experiment what you have done in the PSIM simulation inside your simulation environment, and you perform hardware test in the lab. So when we perform the experiment and we perform the hardware experiment as well, so we should be able to understand better on the what we expect on the performance of the machines, performance and characteristic of the machines. But we have some limitation such that the things that we do in our PSIM simulation, we are not able to perform on the hardware itself. So that is what we expect you all to find out, and these two kind of limitation and constraint that you have or we have in the lab in terms of the machine, in terms of the system, in terms of the output, in terms of the input. So it might be in very kind or any kind of contribution or factor. So that you have what you have to observe and discuss. So means that you might not be able to perform in terms of all the expected curve or expected range what you have done inside your PSIM over here. So based on what you have done in PSIM simulation, the session that you have done so far, so draft a proper procedure of how to perform the hardware test inside our lab. This hardware lab to find out or to understand in terms of the characterization and performance on the two set of single phase induction motor. We have several construction or combination of induction machine inside the lab, but you just select any two kind of setting or two kind of construction. So actually you have 3 stations inside the lab, and these 3 stations you perform 2 set of motor experiment. So you can perform the experiment gathering the data in group, then in terms of report you have to perform in or you have to submit in individual. So group for setting experiment and data gathering, report should be in individual. Okay, so discuss further in terms of your what you have observed and what are the limitations inside the lab. It might be that when you perform your PSIM simulation, let's say you are performing the torque versus speed of the experiment. In PSIM you run the experiment from zero speed up to maximum speed with the additional or increment of torque. So you increase the torque, the speed will increase accordingly. So you perform the graph like this, so you get the performance of the graph. But in terms of hardware lab, so how it should be? Is it the same step, or in terms of reverse step, or how it should be, and what kind of graph you expect, and what kind of graph you able to generate inside your experiment in the hardware setting. Okay, the procedure might be that you have to, the step you have to construct a procedure at your home. Then you come to the lab, fine tune the procedure based on the available system in the lab. Then you set, or you try to gather as much as possible the data out of experiment within this week. If the time is not sufficient, you can come over again next week and gather as much as possible. So all of this should be done in group, and then you create a graph. So the graph at home, then discussion, and conclude what you have observed inside the lab. So this one might be performed in individual. So it means that you can work in group to perform the experiment, gather data as much as possible, but when you get home, you do analysis by your own and discuss, conclude, and submit the report. So the due date of this experiment or this task might be on the date as per mentioned, but we might extend a little bit due to some limitation of the situation that we're facing right now. Okay, the guideline of the report as per listed, so it should be submitted individually. So please use the cover page as your front page. So means that everybody have to use this front page cover. So you write your name, matric number, your program and group, and the report itself should not exceed 10 pages, not include attachment. So your report in 10 page, if you have attachment, so it's not to it's not including this into this 10 pages. So the 10 pages is on the report itself. Okay, use in any standard proper technical report format, a single line, single column. Use 12 size font times New Roman, single spacing. Any picture, graph, table, circuit, diagram should be used to explain the theory and operation. So it's up to your creativity. You can use a graph, table, circuit, whatsoever to explain what are the theory behind your experiment, and then you can overlap with the or attach your result together to explain what you gain or what you get compared with the theory. So in the analysis and discussion section, discuss all the observed on each individual graph. So each graph should have at least the explanation and on the graph itself, what are the minimum, maximum, the range. So the graph should accompany with the explanation. So it means that you just present the meaningful graph, which is you are able to explain what you understand and what you are able to explain. So in conclusion section, technically discuss what you observe and what you recommend, and based on the objective that you list down. Okay, list down the reference that being used. You can use at least 5 or few reference, because for sure you have to get some reference to come up with the procedure, to refer on the theory and expected result of the certain machines. So use that reference list inside your reference part. So please submit in timely. Per date will be mentioned or will be decided later. So any late submission will be penalized now. Okay, these are the minimum content that we expect: introduction, procedure, discussion, and the weightage of your marks is on the most right column. So 10% for introduction, 20% for procedure, result discussion 30%, conclusion and recommendation 40%. So punctuality will be reduced mark if you submit late. Okay, means that what you can see and what you expect to see. So this is what we expect you all to discuss in the conclusion. Result discussion is what you able to see from the experiment. Conclusion and recommendation, maybe you have to link all your observed result with the theoretical that you learn in PSIM or in the class. So that's why we mention over here, when on the highest mark, what we expect in terms of the introduction, in terms of the procedure, should be clearly explained. Steps, you might have a flow chart, table or whatsoever, and explain the procedure on the experiment you want to conduct inside your lab. And then the result discussion, perfectly explained on the graph. Each graph should have their own explanation. Use appropriate units, label, arrange, so the graph are well analyzed and comments. In terms of their conclusion, all important conclusion are made. So means that you understood what the theory and what are the limitations inside your lab. You comment in terms of their technical result and link with the theoretical expectation that you should obtain. Okay, that's all for this briefing. Okay, anything you can ask during the lab session later. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.